So that would be I don't know if that answered your question or
It did. I wasn't listening, so I'm sure it did. No, it did.
not.
We don't need no education. We don't need no thought control. No dark sarcasm in the classroom. Hey, teacher, leave them kids alone. And that's the song we sing as we start episode number 161 of the Upfront Podcast, or the Promo Upfront Podcast, depending on which channel you're listening on. It's actually just the Promo Upfront Podcast. As kids are going back to school, that's the little Pink Floyd we're singing for you. Thank you to Mr. Rogers and Gilmore for that tune. I am one of your hosts, Bill Petrie. With me, as always, let's call him the captain of the Counselor Awards, the one and only Kirby Hassman. Kirby, how the hell are you?
I'm doing pretty well, man. Doing pretty well. Just trying to, you know how it is, get the ups and downs of business, and we're riding some waves and trying to keep things rocking and rolling. But yeah, I'm doing all right, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. Just busy with things. Just got back from the ASI show in Chicago, and funnily enough, Kirby, that got me to thinking. I know you weren't in Chicago, Kirby, last week, so you missed out on the one thing everyone was talking about. Do you have any guesses? And it's okay if you don't. You weren't there, so it's okay.
I heard there was some really cool rebranding.
Oh my Kirby, I didn't think you'd hit it spot on, but you did. And this hat no longer works. That's right. Our good pals over at Logo Mats have rebranded. Now, everyone was talking about the vibrant colors on the floor of the show, Kirby, and more specifically, the vibrant colors on the mats from our friends at Logo Mats. I'm now wearing their hat, given to me my one Miles Wadsworth. I really love it. It's an incredible rebrand. So as you can see by my lid, Logo Mats has our first ever mascot. That's Lenny the Lizard right there. That simply pops with color. I love how it pops against the white if you're watching on video. And it really pops with color, much like all of their mats. They even have a fresh tagline that I love, Kirby. Stand out where others blend in, which is hammered home by the bold palette of the logo. The rebrand helps the company. It's leading up to their 20th anniversary of doing business in 2024. Kirby, what do you think of the rebranding? I'm wearing it so you can evaluate it as you talk.
Yeah, it was, I think the thing that pops into my mind is colorful, right? And I think that one of the things that when I first got familiar with Logo Mats, that is one of the things that they do color on the mats. And I think, when we actually did self promos of mats, because I wanted to be able to showcase some of that. And that was exactly the first thing we did. We're like, well, we want to show something over the top. And I think that with this rebrand, that seems like that was what they were trying to do as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more, Kirby. And regarding the products from Logo Mats, because they are creatively designed and expertly built right here in the United States, they are extremely effective at capturing the attention of target audiences, like at ASI Chicago. Heck, if they can be the talk of an industry trade show where we're all jaded, just think about what they can do for your clients. They offer a wide range of outdoor, indoor, and point of purchase mats that really help communicate a brand message. And if you want to learn more, and gosh darn it, you should, head over to logomatsllc.com. They're the company you trust and now have a lizard that you love. All right, Kirby. Thanks to Logo Mats. Good seeing Miles last week, getting my new fresh lid. Love it, love it, love it. You have the upfront section of the podcast this morning, and I didn't sleep at all last night. In fact, I haven't slept the last 3 nights because I'm wondering what topic is Kirby going to bring up for the upfront section of the podcast. And now we're here at this moment. I don't want to wait any longer. I don't want to belabor the point. I don't want to think about it any longer. I just want to hear what this topic is. So when you have a moment, if you could orally present the topic that you would like to discuss from your mouth and verbalize that, I certainly would appreciate it, as would our audience.
Yeah, I think you're wasting 3 days of non-sleep on this is going to be really disappointing. So did you know that cricket is the second most popular sport in the world? I did not.
I I did not.
I did not. Okay, so following, of course, soccer, aka football,
Yeah.
right? So this is actually from our friends at PPA Media.
Hmm.
There's essentially most Americans are not familiar with sport, but Major League Cricket is on a mission to change that. So
Okay.
pro teams are coming to America. It's six
Okay.
teams, including let's see, Dallas, Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina, both are playing a
Hmm.
championship series. So they're sort of launching and kind of getting trying to build the audience in the United States. I've seen highlights and that sort of thing,
Yeah.
um, but I don't understand it at all. But I am fascinated by any kind of new sport where you can go see it in person.
Right.
Why am I bringing it up? Because of course,
Yes.
if they're
I'm
launching with merch, right?
That's of course they are,
Yeah,
Kirby.
and so they're doing 4 essential pieces: jerseys, tees, hats, and obviously working with some folks in our industry. So,
Sure.
I thought this was interesting. So I guess for the purpose of the topic is, what do you know about cricket? Are you interested in checking out the sport? Obviously, Dallas, kind of
Yeah.
your MO. And then, are you surprised that merch has become such an integral part of launching anything like this?
Okay, I'll answer your first question first for a change. Here's what I know about cricket. It's an incredibly complicated sport to understand if you didn't grow up with it. I do know that. It is kind of a variation of baseball. It's obviously established well before baseball was ever invented, but there's a lot of similarities in terms of the shape of the field and so on and so forth. I've watched a little cricket just by happenstance. I didn't get a lot of joy out of it. So does it excite me? No, I've got enough distractions in my life that I don't foresee cricket adding to those distractions.
Mhm.
But I'm not going to crap on it. You never know who's going to
Yeah.
enjoy that stuff. Am I surprised that merch is such a critical part of the launch? No, merch should be the only part of this launch, to be
Mm.
honest with you. That's the only way they should spend money, other than in the local markets to try to get people out to those games. Honestly, we are a sports feverish society. I
Yeah.
think that's a fair statement. But as college football is gearing up, as pro football is gearing up, as the Major League Baseball playoffs heat up in the fall, the NHL season begins, the NBA season begins, the only way you're going to get noticed is by ridiculously creative merch. And I haven't seen any of the merch because I didn't even know there was a Major League Cricket league coming in. I didn't know there was one coming into the United States that's going to fold in 2027. So I'm excited for the 3-year run to see what they come up with. Now, I'd like to see the merch that they come up with. I think it's a very tough thing to break into, saying we have a
Totally.
new major league sport. I mean, how many years? You're a few years younger than I am. For decades we heard soccer's the next big thing, soccer's the next big thing. And we're hearing it again now with Messi signing
Yeah.
for the Miami team, which is great, but it still has yet to eclipse hockey. And you have in the big sports are football, pro basketball, pro baseball is now number 3, I think.
Mm.
Hockey's a distant fourth. I
Yeah.
love hockey, but it's a distant fourth. I don't think soccer is above the WNBA at this point. Maybe it is, maybe not. So I think it's an incredibly difficult thing.
Mm.
I think it's a great challenge for someone to take on. I wish them much success. And if the merch is cool, of course I'd consider buying it. But yeah, merch has to be like the major part of this. The only way you're going to get anybody attention. That's why I listed all that stuff. That's the only
Yeah.
way you're going to get attention.
No, I think that's totally fair. And every time something like this happens, and again, the way I'm jaded is that we're not near any of these major markets. I think if I
Right.
were, those kind of events would be really fun to go to, because I think
Yeah.
of like minor league baseball and stuff like that. Sometimes those kind of
Yeah.
events are more fun to go to in person than
Sure.
the major league, whatever those are. So I think that if you can get into creative markets that are major enough to warrant an audience, but then small enough to garner some loyalty from the local fan base, I
Yeah.
think that's sort of the challenge. Because Dallas, yeah, let's put something new in LA. Like they don't have enough to do. You know what I mean? Like, so I
Yeah.
think going into sort of minor major markets would
Yeah.
make some sense, and I think especially for a different sport like this.
I agree. They'd be much better off going, Raleigh Durham makes sense. The only major
Yeah.
team they have there is Carolina Hurricanes in the NHL.
Right.
Going to Nashville makes some sense, I would think. I would think going to Indianapolis would make sense. Going into Fargo, North Dakota probably makes a lot of sense, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. I think you're better off being the biggest fish in the smallest pond at
Yeah.
this
I like
point,
that.
when I think that's what you're trying to say. No, couldn't agree with you more. Hey, Kirby, I've got a question for you,
Okay.
and really for all our distributors. If you don't mind me launching a query at this point in the podcast,
Mhm.
marketing working? Well, if not, the good people at Promo Pulse have something new just for you. That's right. AMP Video. With this new tool, you can excite and engage your prospects and customers on the TikTok, the YouTube, the YouTube Shorts, I should say, the Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, with branded product videos using content from your preferred suppliers. Be the first on your block. You can be like Jenny on the block, like J-Lo. Be the first on your block to start using AMP Video. And the first 30 days are gratis. That means free if you speak really weird Italian. They head over to promopulse.io/amp. You won't be sorry you did. Okay, Kirby. I was honored to be invited to attend the ASI Counselor Awards last week.
Okay.
Which I have done before. It's been many, many years. I have to thank my very good friend, Michelle Bell from
Nice.
ASI for extending the invite, and had a really, really wonderful time. Don't really want to go through all the people who won. Everybody was very deserving who won. It's always cool to see people people recognized for the good work that they do
Yeah.
and the legacy they. I wanted to bring one up, though, which is why I called you the captain of the Counselor Awards. The Lifetime Achievement Award was actually given as a surprise. He did not know it. It was a very difficult thing, from what I understand, to keep him in the dark. Was given to ASI Chairman Norman Cohn.
Mhm.
And I think you and I both know, and for those of you who are new to this podcast may not know this, but ASI has had a very long-standing stance of, when we have awards, whether it's Power 50 or Counselor Awards, we don't recognize our own, because
Mhm.
there's an appearance of, hey, it's a self-serving
Yeah.
situation. And you and I have been very against that,
Yeah.
especially like a Power 50. You and I have said for years, and it's one of the 6 things we agree on, that Tim Andrews absolutely deserves and needs to be on that list. When he's not
Yeah.
on that list, it kind of renders it a little bit
Yeah.
invalid to an extent.
Yeah.
So the fact that recognized Norm Cohen for his years of work, he founded ASI, what they've done in the industry, there are still people who call it the ASI industry,
Yeah.
and that's a legacy.
Yeah.
I wanted to get your thoughts on that, and what you think about ASI finally recognizing someone, certainly, who is on the Mount Rushmore, as Gene Geiger said in his presentation. He's on the Mount Rushmore of this industry. Arguably, he's not even arguably, he is on the Mount Rushmore of the industry. What do you think about ASI finally recognizing one of their own?
Yeah. It was. It's funny when you started down this road of, I wasn't sure where you were going to go, and that was one of my takeaways. Was that it was refreshing to see
Yeah.
an organization willing to state the obvious, right?
Yeah.
Like, because as your point was taken, it's like, we have repeatedly discussed the Power 50 and how Tim Andrews should be on it.
Right.
We have discussed even the online 18, back when Denham was the one doing it, saying that Dale probably should be on it. I totally understand why they felt the way they felt.
Absolutely.
However, I do think it's like, again, it just makes it feel wonky when someone who is clearly an influence is not on there. So yeah, I was excited to, I don't know Norm personally. I know of him and his reputation around the industry, but I when I saw that, I was like, good on you guys. I think that's really appropriate and well-deserved. And so, yeah, I had the same sort of reaction that you did, to say, you know what, when something is a good thing, and I guess that's it. I think we sometimes get in our own way, Bill, where it's like, well, this is a good thing, but I don't want to toot my own horn. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Yeah. But I think that there are times in our lives that we need to say, hey, this is a good thing. And celebrate that. And so I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I loved it. Agree with everything you said. All right, Kirby, you have another topic for us?
Yeah, let's go. Okay. I think this is pretty funny. So this might be a quick one. So who better
Okay.
to deliver news that you're quitting your job or want out of
Yeah.
your relationship than a celebrity like
Hmm.
Flavor Flav?
Okay.
So some people are so keen to avoid the awkward conversations that they're using Cameo to pay famous
Hmm.
faces to relay these messages instead. He said that
Okay.
in
Good.
the past 3 years, pay for celebrity video services received close to 5,000 requests that included divorce and 2,000 with breakup. And so the idea that they are paying celebrities to do a cameo video to whether it's a
Hmm.
divorce or whether it's a breakup or quitting your job.
Okay.
What do you think? What do you think of this? And are you going to do this to
Um,
fire a client?
you know what? No, okay, it's funny. Let's get first things first.
That's
It's
it.
funny,
Yeah.
but it's also very cowardly. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe this is old man Bill getting on his grumpy stone and complaining a little bit, but we have, if you look at what technology has given us, certainly it's taken away as well. One of the things it's taken away is humanity. And it's part of the human condition that you have to have awkward conversations,
Mm.
that you have to uh, I guess you don't have to, but it's good for you to be able to look at someone with compassion and say, for a breakup, this isn't working for me, and here's why, and we got to go our separate ways. Or to go to an employer. I would never. First of all, let me be clear. I would never hire a celebrity to quit a job. That is one of the most delicious pleasures in life, because so because so few of us are in control of
Mm.
our own destiny when it comes to work. We work for someone, and so when you find another job and you have an opportunity to resign, that's one of those delicious moments in life. I wouldn't give that away for it to anybody, to be
Yeah.
honest with you, but I think it's an important skill to learn, to be able to deliver bad news or unpleasant news in a compassionate, empathetic manner. And so while it's funny, I would never do it, and I think it's a bad idea.
Yeah, and I think it does speak to our culture that they've had
Yeah.
5,000 requests that included divorce.
Yeah.
Like the idea
Yeah.
that you're paying
Divorce is
somebody else to
ridiculous.
get out of a marriage is kind of
Yeah.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
And like kind of to your point, get some stones, grow up.
Yeah.
And it's just like that's not great. So okay, that's it.
All right, real quick here before I forget, I want to remind everybody, hey, it's going to get cold here very soon. It's hotter than blazes here, but it's almost fall. Time to start thinking about those blanket orders. You can head over to kanatapromo.com. Those warm blankets that just envelop your body and your soul in that delicious promo warmth we all want. Kanatapromo.com. All right, Kirby, collaborations.
Yeah.
Let's talk collaborations. Now, we've talked about this on this podcast before, but this one, just bear with me a moment.
Yeah.
So, a couple of the collaborations we've seen recently, like Travis Scott with McDonald's with the Travis Scott meal, and it was a quarter pounder with cheese, bacon, lettuce, along with chips, barbecue sauce, and a Sprite with extra ice. It was so successful, it led to a shortage of ingredients at some restaurants.
Wow.
Okay,
Okay.
Ben and Jerry's and Nike, the Chunky Dunky ice cream and matching shoe. That was a couple years ago.
That's
That
weird.
shoe, of course, a limited edition shoe. Kind of, it
Yeah.
looked like part of it looked like melting ice cream and all that. Um, it is now, you can, if you want to buy it, it's going to cost you $3,000. Okay.
Wow.
Justin Bieber and Tim Hortons donut drop. So Tim Hortons is the largest restaurant chain in Canada. Tim Horton, CEO, said it's one of the more successful traffic driving initiatives in recent memory and outperformed our internal expectations. Now, recently we've seen Stanley with their big mugs. That's the thing right now for all the suburban housewives is the joke, right? They have their 40-ounce Stanley mug of water. They're doing something with Target and In Hand with Hearth and Hand by Magnolia, which is Joanna Gaines's
Mhm.
thing, the Magnolia thing. They have a tumbler that's flying off the shelves.
Yep.
Then I saw this one: French's mustard and Skittles. That's right, Kirby. Now you can get a package of Skittles that taste like French's mustard. Now, I know Skittles' tagline is taste the rainbow. I've never thought of mustard as part of the rainbow personally. So I
Oh
kind of
man.
wanted to get your perspective on this. And honestly, we've seen this in our industry too. You know, a bunch of us service providers got together to do the Outliers Ball, Brand of Eight, and Soapbox,
Yep.
and Promo Pulse, and Promocation. So we're seeing a lot more of these collaborations, which I think are great. I think it
Yeah.
really leads to some great creativity. But I wanted to get, how do you make these things successful? First of all, do you like seeing these things, these wacky offbeat things like Skittles and mustard, which is just weird?
No.
You like seeing them, and what do you think needs to happen to make them successful? I'm kind of springing this on you, so if
No,
you'd
it's
like
fine.
me to rattle off a couple, I will.
No, I actually do have a pretty quick opinion about this. So the concept
Yeah.
of collaboration of brands working together on something creative, I love, love, love. I think some of those that
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned were really, really cool, and they just made
Yeah.
sense. They like actually
Yeah.
the Justin Bieber um
Yeah.
um Tim
Tim
Hortons
Hortons.
thing. Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Canada, all that stuff
Yeah.
makes sense. I actually thought the it was Baskin Robbins and Nike. I thought that was a weird one, just because I didn't
Ben
think
and Jerry's.
but thank you.
That's
But
okay. Yeah.
I didn't think that, but again, said it was successful for Nike and their shoes. But the
Mm-hmm.
thing about that is you're not buying those from Nike for $3,000. You're buying them from collectors,
Yeah.
probably for $3,000. So I
Right.
love the idea, but I don't love the cognitive dissonance I run into when I see some of
Yeah.
them. Like again, Skittles and mustard, like that's a no for me, dog, every
Right.
day of the week. That is nasty. I have no interest in
Right.
that.
I
But I
agree.
love the idea of, it's funny. I was actually having this conversation yesterday with someone I was working with about they're a cabinet maker, and I'm like, well, you should
Mm-hmm.
really promote the best countertop maker that you work with,
Right.
like, and so I think some of those, and it was so funny because a light bulb went off with them. They're like, oh, there's this one countertop maker we love working with. I'm like,
Yeah.
perfect.
There you
And
go.
so I think that a lot of business collaborations we step away from, and it's a mistake. I think
Right.
that we can go too far on the creativity of it that makes it weird. So that would be I don't know if that answered your question or
It did. I wasn't listening, so I'm sure it did. No,
not.
it did. It absolutely answered my question. I think there's a couple of ways you can go here. You can go the way off beat, like Skittles and mustard.
Yeah.
That's something nobody's asked for that.
Yeah, that's right.
So you can go off beat, or you can go, of course, like Stanley, Target, and Magnolia.
Yeah.
I think those are the only two directions you can go. If you go the of course direction, you are trying to offload merch. You're trying to sell things. That's your goal. If
Yeah.
you go the offbeat route, you're just trying to grab headlines and have two yuck monkeys like us yap about it on a low rent promo podcast. So
Yeah.
I think you need to know what your goals are. I think you need to make it limited edition. I mean, what Nike
Yes.
did with the Ben and Jerry's thing, I looked at the shoe. I'm not going to use it as the cover of the podcast this week. I'm going to use the mustard Skittles because that's just gross, and I think it'll attract more attention. But the shoe's pretty cool looking with the leather that looks like melted ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
Limited edition. I think that's smart. And then I think you just need to realize, again, when it's just content driven news. I don't know how many mustard flavored Skittles bags they produce. I don't know where to get them. I don't know what they taste like, if they're accurate. I don't like mustard to begin with, so it's a moot point.
Yeah.
But really, they're just doing it for this reason only. This is the only reason those things exist. So
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. All right. Are we done, or do we want to go one more?
I got one more. I got
Oh, one more. Man,
and
it's a topic rich podcast this week, kids. You are getting extra special platinum content courtesy of Kirby Hossman. Kirby, what do you got?
so I think one of the things that I wanted to bring up is you and I are constantly creating, trying to get more done. And so I am looking for ways to be more productive. And candidly, we've talked about strategies, but
Mhm.
I just recently run into a couple of products that have helped me. And so I wanted to
Okay.
share. Okay.
Okay.
And again, so a buddy of mine, the first one, and I want to share them with you. If you have any that you want to add, great.
Yeah.
And then if
I
our
bet I
listeners have
do.
any that they want to throw in the comments, I'd actually love to hear. So this
I
is
would
one of
too.
those public service announcements, take it or leave it. A buddy of mine was adamant about Apple earbuds, the AirPod Pros. So the ones that have the noise canceling. I was kind of skeptical, just because I think sometimes those things can be overpriced. I did bite the bullet based on his recommendation. And I am, yeah, there you go. So like, I am blown away by how much they help me focus. Put on some, now I'm a person who, I know you listen to music. I'll listen to instrumental music. I need it to be no words for me to do that. But man, I can get lost, and you can come in here and talk to me and I won't even know you're here. And sometimes I think to do deep work, that's really good. So that was just a product. And then the other one, and I want to be give full transparency here. A company called Magic Mind reached out to me and wanted me to endorse their product.
Is it owned by Magic? Is it owned by Magic Mike?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I haven't met the founder, but it might have been Channing Tatum.
That's a missed opportunity.
It really is. It really is. But it's a supplement. And at first I thought it was just like an energy drink, but it's an all natural energy drink. And it's not like fused with all kinds of caffeine. So it's built in nootropics. So it's not about so much about giving you energy, although it helps with that extended release, but it's about giving clarity and focus. For what it's worth, it's dairy-free, gluten-free, paleo-free. You know, it's got all it's very healthy.
Sounds good. The question I have is it cutting back on your Mountain Dew intake in the afternoon?
So yes, that's it. Yes, that's the thing. So so the concept
Hold on.
is
We have breaking news here. Kirby is cutting down on his daily Mountain Dew drink. I think we all need to pay attention to this.
I was pretty skeptical. I'll be honest with you. And I want to be clear. They did reach out to me, but I'm not being paid. I have this is they just sent it to me and said, if you like it, talk about it. Right. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like a little 1 ounce kind of shot. I take it in the morning, and it's supposed to help your focus. And that's what was most important to me, but I think it does help energy. Yeah. I've stopped drinking coffee in the afternoon. I've stopped Mountain Dew. Like, I really genuinely like it. And when I don't take it in the morning, I can tell. And so it's like, this is one of those moments where I'm like, I found myself, I told you this, I found myself telling my friends here locally about it. And so I'm like, well, I want to tell my friends on the podcast. So those are two Apple AirPods Pro, and then Magic Mind has been, it's been really cool.
Will you drop in the comments when we post this on Friday, like a link if people want to get, everybody knows where to get AirPods. So I don't think you need to do that. But the Magic Mind mic, whatever the hell it's called. Yeah, if you could drop that, I think that'd be awesome. And I'll do the same thing because I've got a couple products here. One is, so I do listen to music, but I also find it sometimes distracting, right? Sometimes, lyric driven music or songs that I love. I spend, I think, a $10 subscription a month through my Amazon device, which I don't want to say the name of because it'll wake up and start talking to me. But on white noise sounds. And so some days I listen to an airplane engine. It's it's like I'm on a plane. Some days I'm on a beach. Some days I listen to a thunderstorm. And I will tell you that white noise machine, so that's what I would call it, just a white noise machine or white noise app, whatever, has helped me has helped me focus immensely. And I find that to be an incredible tool. As I was leading up to leave for ASI Chicago, I had to get a lot done. I'm going to be out of the office, and it was on a loop, and it was just amazing how much more I accomplished. So that was a great productivity tool for me.
Cool. That's great.
The second one is, because I do a lot of graphic design here at Brand Veda, I have people help, but I'd still do a lot of it. And we've talked about this before. I use Midjourney. It's basically my stock photography now. So when I want to develop something and I don't want to scroll, sometimes stock photography, as we know, it just reeks of stock photography.
It sure does.
Through Midjourney, which is an AI driven, like real AI. Not everybody likes to throw AI on whatever product they're selling right now. This is actual AI, like ChatGPT. I'm able to construct visuals with good accuracy first time, second time, you learn how to use the prompts
Yeah.
correctly and all that. What I want to visualize,
Mhm.
it's an incredible tool for me because
Nice.
it freshens up the way the graphics look for different clients. So
Yeah.
I'll put a link in I'll put a link in there as well. You'll put one in for Magic Mind, and we'd love to hear
Yeah.
from both of our listeners, either Danny Rosen, Rich Graham, either one of you guys. If you guys want to let us know what productivity tools you have, that would be great. Actually, Johanna Gottlieb, I think we have 3
Yeah.
listeners now.
Yeah. That's it.
All right, I think that'll do it, Kirby. Hey, do you like the Vibrant? We all love the Vibrant, and I gotta tell you, Logomats has done an incredible rebrand. I don't know how long they had their previous brand, but you don't realize things need a refresh until sometimes it's refreshed. And
Mhm.
when I saw the refresh, I'm like, man, that should have happened years ago. And I'm
Yeah.
sure
It
everybody
looks
else
great.
feels that way too. Here it is, Lenny the Lizard. You can't get away from how cool and vibrant that is. And you can imagine what they do for mats. They have outdoor mats, indoor mats, point of purchase mats. They have every mats. And a lot of people don't think of mats as promotional products. They are. And
Oh,
they're
totally agree.
extremely effective. They're extremely durable. And I will tell you, there is no easier sale in this industry than a mat.
Mhm.
When you're talking to a client who has retail sites, has office sites, things like that, or they have events. I've seen these things at events that are amazing. Made here in the USA with loving care by the good people at Logo Mats. I think generally Miles Wadsworth is back there weaving the loom, weaving the mats. That's correct. That's correct. Him, and he's sitting by Lenny the Lizard. And I'm going to create that mid journey later on today. You want to learn more? Of course you do. Help them celebrate the rebrand by visiting logomatsllc.com. Remember, it's the only place you can stand out where others blend in. All right, Kirby, thanks again for having the courage to podcast movies. I've been really fired up today. I don't know what maybe I had some magic Mike or whatever the hell it was.